Hello, mi gente linda. Gente linda means beautiful people in Spanish. I am Nelly C. My goal for my YouTube channel is to study the topics for the licensed clinical social worker exam together and share this material with someone who may need it. First, I would like to share a quote to continue to be inspired and motivated to carry on with this journey. And today we have a second quote from Mr. Freud. Secondly, we will continue learning about Mr. Sigmund Freud theory and learn about him from these two links that is in my PowerPoint. And thank you for taking the time to listen to this video. And if you would like to receive a notification when I upload a video, please subscribe and don't forget to like this video so we can all maximize the gift of the technology of this time. Adios, mi gente linda, and many blessings. And here is the second quote of Mr. Freud. Out of your vulnerabilities will come your strengths. Again, out of your vulnerabilities will come your strengths. Nice quote. And we're gonna go to the other screen and we're gonna learn about Mr. Freud. Let's see. Who was Sigmund Freud? Sigmund Freud was an Austrian neurologist who developed psychoanalysis, a method through which an analysis unpacks unconscious conflicts based on the free associations, dreams, and fantasies of the patients. His theories on child sexuality, libido, and the ego, among other topics, were some of the most influential academic concepts of the 20th century. Early life, education, and career. Freud was born in the Austrian town of Freiburg, now known as the Czech Republic, on May 6, 1856. When he was 4 years old, Freud's family moved to Vienna, the town where he would live and work for the most of the remainder of his life. He received his medical degree in 1881. As a medical student and a young researcher, Freud's research focused on neurobiology, exploring the biology of brains and nervous tissue of humans and animals. After graduation, Freud promptly set up a private practice and began treating various psychological disorders. Considering himself first and foremost a scientist rather than a doctor, he endeavored to understand the journey of human knowledge and experience. Early in his career, Freud became greatly influenced by the work of his friend and Viennese colleague, Joseph Breuer, who had discovered that when he encouraged a hysterical patient to talk uninhibitedly about the earliest occurrences of the symptoms sometimes gradually abated. After much work together, Breuer ended the relationship, feeling that Freud placed too much emphasis on the sexual origins of the patient's neurosis and was completely unwilling to consider other viewpoints. Meanwhile, Freud continued to refine his own argument. We're gonna go to another article that I like. that explain better the Freud's theories. Where is that? No, it's not this one. Right. So, okay, it's there. Okay. Okay, this article is Freud and the psychodynamic perspective. And also it talks about Mr. Freud, and it says Simon Freud, 1856-1939, is probably the most controversial and misunderstood psychological theories. When reading Freud's theories, it is important to remember that he was a medical doctor, not a psychologist. There was no such a thing as a degree in psychology at the time that he received his education, which can help us understand some of the controversy over his theory today. However, Freud was the first to systematically study and theorize the workings of the unconscious mind in the manner that we associate with modern psychology. In the earliest years of his career, Freud worked with Joseph Breuer, a Viennese physician. During this time, Freud became intrigued by the story of one of the Breuer's patients, Berta Paffini, Paffehim, who was referred to by the pseudonym Anna O. Anna O had been caring for her dying father when she began to experience symptoms such as partial paralysis, headaches, blurred vision, amnesia, and hallucinations. In Freud's days, these symptoms were commonly referred to as hysteria. Anna O turned to Breuer for help. He spent 2 years, 1880-1882, treating Anna O, and discovered that allowing her to talk about her experiences seemed to bring some relief of her symptoms. Anna O called his treatment the talking cure. Despite the fact that the Freud never met Anna O, her story served as the basis for the 1895 book Studying on the Hysteria, which he co-authored with Breuer based on the Breuer descriptions of Anna O's treatment. Freud concluded that hysteria was the result of sexual abuse in childhood, and these traumatic experiences had been hidden from consciousness. Breuer disagreed with Freud, which soon ended their work together. However, Freud continued to work to refine talk therapy and build his theory on personality. I like this explanation about Freud's theory. Level of consciousness. To explain the concept of conscious versus unconscious experience, Freud compared the mind to an iceberg. He said that only about 1/10 of our mind is conscious, and the rest of our mind is unconscious. Our unconscious refers to the mental activity of which we are unaware and are unable to access. According to Freud, unacceptable urges and desires are kept in our unconscious through a process called repression. For example, we sometimes say things that we don't intend to say by unintentionally substituting another word for one we meant. You probably heard of Freudian slip, the term used to describe this. Freud suggested that slips on the tongue are actually sexual or aggressive urges, accidentally slipping out of our unconscious. Speech errors such as these are quite common. Seeing them as a reflection of unconscious desire, linguistics today have found that slips of the tongue tend to occur when we are tired, nervous, or not our optimal level of cognitive functioning. And here is our iceberg. Look at this. The conscious, the superego, the ego, the it, and conscious. Freud believed that we are only aware of a small amount of our mind's activities and that most of it remains hidden from us in our unconscious. The information in our unconscious affect our behavior, although we're unaware of it. According to Freud, our personality develops from a conflict between two forces, our biological aggressive and pleasure-seeking drives versus our internal socialized control over these drives. Our personality is the result of our efforts to balance these two competing forces. Freud suggested that we can understand this imagining three interacting systems with our mind. He called them I, ego, and superego. The I want to do it that now. The superego is not right to do that. The ego, maybe we can compromise. And here are the chart. The job of the ego or self is to balance the aggressive, pleasure-seeking drive of the I or the it with the moral control or the superego. The unconscious it contains our most primitive drive or urges and is present from birth. It directs impulses for hunger, thirst, and sex. Freud believed that the it operates on what he called the pleasure principles, in which the it seeks immediate gratification through social interactions with parents and others in a child's environment. The ego and superego develop to help control the it. The superego develops as a child interacts with others, learning the social rules for right and wrong. The superego acts as our conscience. It is our moral compass that tells us how we should behave. It strives for perfection and judges our behavior, leading to feelings of pride or when we fall short of ideal, feelings of guilt, in contrast to the instinctual it and the rule-based superego. The ego is the rational part of our personality. It's what Freud considered to be the self. It's a part of our personality that is seen by others. its job is to balance the demands of the id and superego in the context of reality. Thus, it operates on what Freud called the reality principle. The ego helps it satisfy his desire in reality way. The id and superego are in constant conflict because the id wants instant gratification regardless of the consequences, but the superego tells us we must behave in socially acceptable ways. Thus, the ego's job is to find middle ground. It helps satisfy the its desire in a rational way that will not lead us to feelings of guilt. According to Freud, a person who has a strong ego, which can balance the demands of the id and the superego, has a healthy personality. Freud maintained that imbalances in the system can lead to neurolosis and tendency to experience negative emotion, anxiety disorder, or unhealthy behavior. For example, a person who is dominated by their id may be a narcissistic and impulsive. A person with a dominant superego may be controlled by feelings of guilt and deny themselves even socially acceptable pleasure. Conversely, if the superego is weak or absent, a person may become a psychopath. An overly dominant superego may be seen in an over-controlled individual whose rational grasp on a reality is so strong that they are unaware of their emotional needs, or in a neurotic who is overly defensive, overusing ego defense mechanism. We're going to see the defense mechanism in another topic because I want to follow the outline of the examination guidebook. But I like to review the stage of psychosexual development that we saw in the last video. Freud believed that personality develops during early childhood. Childhood experience shape our personality as well as our behavior as adults. He asserted that we develop via a series of stages during childhood. Each of us must pass through these childhood stages, and if we do not have the proper nurturing and parenting during a stage, we will be stuck or fixated in that stage, even as an adult. In each psychosexual stage of development, the child's pleasure-seeking urges coming from the id are focused on a different area of the body, called an erogenous zone. The stages are oral, anal, phallic, latency, and genital. Freud's psychosexual development theory is quite controversial. To understand the origin of the theory, it is helpful to be familiar with the political, social, and cultural influence of Freud's day in Vienna and at the turn of the 20th century. During this era, a climate of sexual repression combined with limited understanding of and education surrounding human sexuality heavily influenced Freud's perspective. Given that sex was a taboo topic, Freud assumed that negative emotional states, neurosis, stem from suppression of unconscious sexual aggressive urges. For Freud, his own recollections and interpretation of patients' experience dream were sufficient proof that psychosexual stages were universal events in early childhood. And here are the Freud's stages of psychosexual development. oral from 0 to 1. The erogenous zone is mouth. The major conflict is winning of prey of battle. And the adult fixation example is smoking, overeating. The anal, the age is from 1 to 3. Erogenous zone, anus. Major conflict is toilet training. Adult fixation is neatness, messiness. Phallic 3 to 6. Erogenous zone, genitals. The major conflict is Oedipus Electra complex. Adult fixation example, vanity, over ambition. Latency is from 6 to 12. We don't have any erogenous zone, and the major conflict, there is none, neither enough adult fixation, and genital is from 12 above all, and the erogenous zone, genitals, no major conflict, neither adult fixation. We're gonna review in the next video each stage in this article. Again, thank you so much for your time, and don't forget to like this video, and see you next time. Thank you so much, and many blessings, my dear friend.